What's up, gentlemen? Today, Ask Hypnotica 76 is on its way. So here we go. We're going to talk about sexual orgasm. And this is the interesting letter that came into me on the Ask Hypnotica. And there's no name or there's no place where he came from. So it's going to be a little bit anonymous, but it's okay because I think it's actually very useful. So to you out there, Mr. Anonymous, let's get to your letter. It says, Eric, I'm still going through the program I bought from you. I'm wondering what program that is because it may tie into the letter. But I have a question for you that you may be able to help me with. I've been married to my wife for over 40 years and we're still deeply in love. We have sex frequency. My wife has orgasms, but there is no apparent contractions, and she gets more pleasure from kissing and making out from the orgasm. Any suggestion? Yeah, first of all, listen, if you've been married 40 years, that's almost as old as I am, okay? I'm 45, so you've been married for 40 years and you're still having sex, you, my friend, I would like to learn from because you have a lot of knowledge, and I'm sure if you're still in love and you're still having sex and you're still enjoying your wife, congratulations. 2 thumbs up for you. You're the one kicking ass. And hey, I would like to learn from you. So something I'm just putting out there. You have a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience, and that's very good. Congratulations. Being married for 40 years, still having sex and enjoying it. Awesome. I do have some suggestions because he says, have I ever dealt with women who have had orgasms but not that much pleasure from them? What do you do to increase their level of pleasure? Thanks very much. So I'm all about communication, and trust me, okay, I have trained so many women, like you'd be amazed. Like a lot of guys know that I just teach guys, but I've taught a shitload of women. I've helped so many women learn how to have orgasm who've never had orgasm before. Girls that said it ain't gonna happen, and it does happen. And then once they make that neurological loop and they understand that their body can respond that way, okay, it's an amazing thing. However, you do have to communicate, and you should be thoroughly knowledgeable about the body. All right. Now, these are a couple things that I want to talk about and that I would actually ask her. I'd want to know things like this. Like, I'd get curious. Like, I would sit down. If you've been married for 40 years, okay, I'm sure you guys taken shits in front of each other. And I'm sure you guys fart in front of each other. And you've done all that. So having an intimate conversation about things that are like this are extremely important because I would want to know, like, when I'm talking to a person or I'm doing work with a person or I'm coaching a person, okay, I want to get curious. I want to know their model of the world. I want to know, hey, can they have orgasms when they're playing with themselves, if they're masturbating? Okay, I would want to know that information. That's extremely powerful information because I can model off of that. I could utilize that. I'd also want to know things like, is she on antidepressants? I don't know her. Maybe it is. That could affect dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, all kinds of things. So I would want to know things like that. I would also want to know, was there any sexual abuse going on in the past? Because that could have a strong correlation. There could be associations to that. I could want to look into her belief system. Does she derive pleasure from that? Did she have a past that was a strict religious upbringing? Okay, what were her beliefs about does she deserve pleasure? These are important things that you really want to understand. Anytime I'm doing this kind of work, and I don't put this kind of work out there. It's not like I can put up there and go, hey, I'll teach you women who can't orgasms to have orgasm. Okay, I just don't think that's possible without getting arrested. I just work it off for like food, really, or something like that. It's kind of strange, but oh well, a barter system. Thank God for the barter system. All right, so these are things that are important, okay? Because you got to know these things. You got to ask: does she want to change? Does she want to self-explore? Does she want to learn? Is she open to it? Because you can't really force these things down. Like, it's like people come to me and go, he needs to change. This person over here needs to stop smoking. This person over here needs to have a better attitude. No, they don't. Okay. And I don't even work with people like that. If they don't come to me and say, hey, I got a problem I would like to change. I'd like to upgrade the thinking. I'd like to upgrade the knowledge. I'm not going to do it. It's not my job to change a person. Okay, so I want to make sure that this is what's going on because if you're like, well, you need to have better orgasm, go to this guy. Motivation may not be there. Okay, it could be secondary gains. Okay, secondary gains basically are like what pleasure are they deriving from the actual behavior that's going on. People don't smoke to smoke. The secondary gain is they're able to relax, okay? They're able to get away, they're able to think. So on one level, that could be a secondary gain. I would want to know things like this. Sit down and have that conversation with her because there's so many different options that it could be. And if you're married 40 years, that's cool. You get to go down and make this like a learning exploration, like dedicate the next month to figuring this out. There's other things it could be too, like sometimes maybe her vagina muscles are just weak, okay? 40, if you got married at 20, she's probably maybe 60. I'm guessing here. I don't know much about you. Just like people when they get older, okay? They say, hey, make sure that if you fart, Okay, when you get older, like be careful, okay, because like I said, those muscles aren't tight anymore. So it's not gripping, it's not holding that crap in. So you fart, you could shit your pants. Okay, it happened to a lot of people. Okay, as they get older. Okay, I've actually had that situation happen. I shouldn't have been eating what I was eating, but same thing. Oops. So it could be something like that. Does she know about Kegels? Okay, strengthening that, because orgasm is a contraction as far as the female, the way that the neurology works, the pleasure that they get from it. So if her muscles are like all loose and shit down there, and they're like, I don't want to do the work, all right, and they're like, like imagine like you're flexing a muscle, you're like, you're not going to get like a powerful thing. But if you're like, different thing, Now, I hope her vagina don't make those sounds. Yeah, they do queef a lot, and you got to make sure there's a difference between a queef and a fart. Not that much difference, right? If you know what that means. So, like I said, the bottom line is this. Find out all these things. Now, once I understand this, okay, it could be things like, let's just say she can orgasm amazingly with a vibrator. Well, then I want to then I'd get in there and do the work. And this comes from like all the study that I do, the hypnosis, the neurolinguistic programming, the mind science stuff. I'd get in there and I'd say, okay, well, let's reassociate that. So I would get in there and I would say, okay, have an orgasm, like play with yourself, have an orgasm. Okay. And I would watch, I would learn. So if she's able to have strong orgasms, there is a map that you can actually watch. You can actually see how a person does these things. Because if she's with you and you have your dick in her and you're doing your thing, okay, and she's like, and she's high breathing, okay, and she doesn't have orgasms, and she's up here in the upper chest region, and when she's playing with herself, she's breathing from her diaphragm. She's like, okay, there's a map there. You can cross design over. You can cross generalize over there and say, okay, next time you have an orgasm, I want you to, instead of concentrating on the orgasm, concentrate on the breathing. Okay, that could be a good thing right there. There's other things that you could do too. Synesthesia. Synesthesia is an overlapping of the senses. So let's just say maybe kinesthetically, okay, that's feeling, okay, internal feeling, or feel kinesthetic is touch, but she's more visual. So what if she's super visual? And the way that, she stores her pictures of pleasure, okay, these are like submodalities, the way in time and space that you store pictures. Let's just say that when she has pleasure, she's got an image or a movie playing, and it's like if she closes her eyes, it's like pulsating, right? So when she thinks about orgasm, like the picture's like way over here or the movie, and so if she can't do a picture, maybe orgasm could correlate to a color, okay, or it could correlate to a sound, could correlate to a taste, it could correlate to a smell. Okay, well, I just hope make sure it's a good smell. Okay, you don't want no fish smell and shit like that. It's not a good thing. If that happens, take her to the doctors. She may have a bacteria thing going on, or STD. But I hope not if she's been married for 40 years. That's a long time to have an STD. There you go. Talking to you out there. So these are things you could do. So let's just say she's having an orgasm and you're able, and listen, I'm sure you're not like a NLP or hypnosis. This is what I do. So if you can, well, I'm not supposed to say that, but with women, remember, barter system. These are the things you can do. See, I'm even feeling it's hot. It's getting hot in here. Okay, I'm starting to sweat. It's just talking about this subject and getting arrested for something like that, like prostitution. So here's what I'm talking about, because I'm getting all over the place. If you can sit down and play, practice, okay, explore together, get curious together. Do things like, okay, so she's having an orgasm, and she's doing it. And so going back to the submodalities, the visual submodalities, sorry, she's orgasming. But what if she's super visual, and every time she has that contraction, the image, let's just say she picks red for orgasm, the image is like, boom, with the breath, you can do like what they call a swish. So it's like, and the red gets bigger, it gets brighter, and then it keeps on doing it with the breath. Maybe the visual cue that she has could, through synesthesia, get anchored down into the kinesthetic, so she could actually, overlap the senses, so she could actually feel more. Maybe she doesn't feel stuff, with direct pressure, but she can make a link from a visual image that's coming bigger and brighter or surround sounding her, and maybe that can allow her to explore feelings, and then link those together with the orgasm and the contractions. Okay. There's not really too many books out there, probably zero. So I'm telling things that I've explored. These are all things, and you were talking about the program. If you got my Modern Day Sexual Man program, I'll tell you another thing that you could do. Like, there's lots of things you can do sexually, okay? 24 years, I went through lots of women, I guess just went into them to learn this information. So there's a lot of good information. So if this is the program you're talking about that you bought, keep going through it. There's a lot of information, but you got to get creative. Like, having sex and, 40 years, man. Like I said, congratulations. You're still enjoying it. You're still having it. That's awesome. Hopefully you're pretty creative. You got to be real fucking creative if you're doing that. So you are creative. Sit down and get creative with it and just say, this is the goal. As a couple together, this is the goal. We're going to go for a powerful orgasm. You got to be on board for that. Don't force it, right? And go from there. You can model things. And here's the other thing. Like, let's just say she's got a friend that can orgasm like a motherfucker. Like, she's just like queen orgasm. She's like, I love it. Okay. Through things like storytelling. Okay. There's hypnosis. I've done plenty of hypnosis and helped girls on this thing where, through the suggestion of, every contraction you feel doubles and triples the amount of pleasure that you feel. It throbs, it resonates, it pulsates, it pounds, it explodes through her body. You could do things like that if you're skilled. But let's just say her friends say, hey, do it very. I'm going to lay with my eyes closed. And the brain's an amazing thing. It can learn awesomely lots of things. It models, okay? That's what we do naturally. Even as a baby, we learn language. We take in information. So she's got that friend. Tell her to close your eyes. Just sit there and have her describe her process, how she has an orgasm. Okay, this is all about communication. It really is. Like, people get all weird about communication, talking about shit like this, but it's okay. In my reality, it's okay. I can walk right up to a girl and go, hey, how do you have an orgasm? Most people wouldn't say that. But I can say that because I'm naturally curious. And if you know I'm really curious, they may look at me a little bit crazy, but they can see my intention is not to manipulate them or be creepy about it. It's like I seriously want to know. So you need to get to that level. And like I said, these are all different options just to start sparking this creativeness inside your head to find out. Let me just check this real quick because I am expecting a person. So get creative, even more creative. Like when you sleep, just get the orgasm creation button going. Like get all those neurons in your head just going crazy. So you're like, you're going to figure this out if she wants it figured out. I would also want to know different things. Like there's different type of orgasms. Okay, there's clitoral orgasm, there's vaginal orgasm, deep spot orgasm, okay, anal orgasm, okay, there's lots of different orgasms. So 40 years, I'm sure you've done anal with her. If not, there's a great technique in Modern Day Sexual Man that talks about it. These are good things that you can do because of the fact that they're all going to be different to a degree. They're going to be. Clitoral orgasm is not as strong usually for a vaginal orgasm, and a anal orgasm with a little clitoral stimulation could be pretty powerful. Link those two together, okay? Hey, have a menage a trois, get all three holes filled and see what happens, okay? And then link those through a word or something like this. You never know. Could be, like I said, breath. Try these things. Here's a couple more things. Trust me, I've been here before. I know this area very well. Realize when she's having an orgasm, maybe she can hold her breath, like maybe stack the orgasm. Maybe you're just not creating enough electromagnetic energy and building that pressure up inside of her where she wants to explode. Like, here's another technique, like just in case you don't have Modern Day Sexual Band as a program. It's called, this is one little technique, so you're going to get it. Put pillows up underneath her ass, this is the bed, have her head hang off the back of the bed so it's like this. Okay, stack it up so blood is actually going down towards her head. Stack the orgasm. That means that get it to the point where if you're going down on her, you're getting to the point where she's having about to have an orgasm. Right before you get there, stop. Have her breathe it in. Okay, cool. Then let her calm down a little bit. Do it again. Start again. Build it up. Right before she's about to have an orgasm, they're going to want to try to orgasm. Don't let them. Okay, they hate that. Don't call me yet. Don't do that. Don't do it. And then they want to do it. It's, women can be like that. Tell them what they can't have and they want it. All right. So then you stop. Do it again. Do that 5 or 6 times. They get a little ornery. 5 or 6 times, they're like, they start talking in tongues and shit. And then on that last one, get it to the point where she starts to have an orgasm, okay? All right, and this is orally. I'm going to throw a little twist in there that you don't really talk about. But she's starting to have the orgasm. As soon as she does, you grab her, you lift her up, the blood rushes out of her head. Now she's starting to have the orgasm. The blood's rushing through her head. She's getting these strong contractions. And quick, put your dick in her, okay? Because now you can associate that where it's a different sensation. It's a different neurological function going on. So when you do that, you stick your dick in her, and then all of a sudden, the association, she's now orgasming maybe differently than she would before, and your dick's inside of her, right? And so that association can happen. These are really powerful things. So I don't know. Yeah, I do have one else thing to say, okay, here. This is just the overall thing. If you're kind of, you can't, I'm going to put it on you. You may not like this answer, but I'm going to say it. You could be acting a little selfish because you're basically saying, hey, this is how you should be. Like she's saying, I'm cool. I'd rather kiss and make out. if that's important to her and she's really digging it and she gets turned on by that, hey, there's a lot of fetishes in the world. You never know. So she's digging that and she's thoroughly satisfied with that, maybe that's okay. Make sure you don't do this. Like say, well, you're broken because you can't orgasm, okay? This sounds like it's more about you than it is about her, because if she's completely content that way and she maybe doesn't have strong sensations, but she's still enjoying sex and she's still enjoying your company and she's still enjoying your intimacy, that's pretty cool, all right? So I want you to understand that. I want to make sure that this is not about you, because it sounds like this whole thing is really about you, all right? Not about her. Now, when she emails me, okay, it'll be a different thing. But like I said earlier, you can, there's an adage, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So if she's having fun with you already, and it's not a big deal, and she doesn't really want to put the effort in, be cool with kissing, unless you don't want to kiss and you just want to fuck. That's a different thing, okay? But this is really what I want to talk about. So with that, I'm going to get back to that little text that just came in, and we will talk soon. This is Ask Hypnotica 76, and if you have any questions, remember, askhypnotica@gmail.com. And if you don't have Modern Day Sexual Man at the end of this, I'll put a little link up, a direct link to the website to go get Modern Day Sexual Man. If you're having issues or you want to learn the stuff that I know that I can help teach you and the person that you're with, go for it. And with that, we'll talk to you soon. Adios.